All right, cool. So we're live. What's up, Kian?
Hey, what's up, Mitch?
Dude, living the dream as always. So Kian and I have both had a lot of people reach out to us over the past months and talking about going after goals, really making things happen. But sometimes we set our goals either a little too big or not big enough. And it's really an art form to actually set that goal and really make it happen. So I'm going to really have Kian explain what he's done and perfected over the past few years. But I'm going to share a little bit about my story with it. So back in August of 2019, I met Kian at a gin event, and I was building an e-commerce business for, I think it was like 7 or 8 months at that point. And it just wasn't clicking. And I had set a pretty big goal for myself of making a certain amount of profit every day. And again, this talk isn't just going to be if you do e-commerce, but it's really any type of business, any type of goal where you need to apply yourself daily to it. So just know that I'm coming at it from the lens of e-commerce, but I've applied it to other businesses I do too, like selling Technotutor. So I was basically hitting a cap of wanting to make a certain amount of profit per day, which was $2,200 a day. And I had a mentor who was like 4 years younger than me, making 6 times that amount per day. So I knew, okay, it's not that hard to make the 2,200. And I was listening to Kevin Trudeau and his trainings talk about you should have a chief aim that takes about 2 to 5 years to hit. So I thought, okay, cool. I'll just hit this eventually in 2 to 5 years. But, after 7 months, not really making any progress. I mean, some of the best days I had was maybe I got like lucky one day and I made $400 in profit. And so I befriended Kian. I knew there was something about him. Like this guy really knew what he was talking about. He's very stable and very grounded in reality. And that helps because I'm a bit more imaginative and visionary. And I like to, look at the far, 2 to 5 year vision and really make it happen. But Kian was able to guide me through, making it practical. So one day in particular, he really grilled me, and he really leaned into me saying, hey, do you honestly think you're going to hit that goal that you have right now? And this is the question for anyone watching is really, what is your goal? First, if you aren't clear on what is your chief aim that you're actually shooting for, well, that's your first problem. And that's where we're here to help. But 2 is, let's say it is, I want to make X amount of sales per month or something, right? That's probably a pretty realistic goal. Well, how do you honestly feel about that? And Kian will talk about, being able to discern that. Now, what Kian really helped me to do was break it way back down and get it to the point of basically stair-stepping up, because he was explaining to me how, like in nature, there's not big drastic swings. It's like if my best month hadn't even been making 2,000 profit, why am I trying to go after that in one day? It's not going to happen, right? I need to stair-step it up. And so Kian supported me with that. And after we really got clear on what I broke my goal down to, it was a certain amount per month. That was just a little bit better than what I'd done before. And then it was, I think, exactly 7 days later. I remember I called Kian. I'm like, dude, I hit it already. Like I hit my chief aim. And they said, okay, cool. I'm like, what now? He's like, okay, well, what do you think, right? And we worked through it, and then I got it, and then so we stair-stepped up a little more, and a little more, and a little more. Well, fast forward 2.5 months, literally the last 2 days of 2019, I made over $2,000 in the day in profit in my business, both days, and then it kept going. And so that's the power of working with Kian and understanding how to actually set up your chief aim and actually set up your goals so you hit it, and then you can build up to those big ambitious goals y'all have of wanting to be a multimillionaire or whatever. But if you never even made 6 figures in a year, you're thinking too big. So Kian, without further,
turn off this alarm.
I got you. And I will say this too. This isn't something that just worked for me, right? I went on and I taught 6 of my different friends about this, and it's worked for all of them. So some of them it went faster, some they're just getting to that first goal, but it's this very friendly way of understanding your goal and then making it easy to win, because you I gave myself a 90-day period, and I did that with my 6 friends, and it's working for all of them. So this is something that is tried and true. It works across industries. I know Kian has done this for an extensive amount of time, doing a lot of different sales training across different businesses. So with that being said, I mean, that's my testimonial for you, Kian. And this shit works. That's as simple as that. So Kian, please enlighten us. You there? Kian.
Sure, yeah. And
Okay.
if the connection gets a little, it's an amazing story. And everything good?
It's pretty
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
and
just start
I
slow.
really love your story. Awesome. So yeah, I really do love your story, man. It's one of a kind, but I see the same thing over and over again with so many people. And it's like they have a vision of what they want to achieve, and then they're here. And then there's conflict because they don't know how to bridge the gap. So when you're able to just take someone and then show them exactly what to do and how to do it and why that they're doing it, when they come to an understanding themselves, that's the easiest way to close the gap. Because a lot of people have a preconceived idea of how they're supposed to achieve their goal. And most of the time it's completely wrong. Right? So basically, I'll just tell a little story about how when I started in door-to-door sales and kind of what I experienced by going through a lot of the gym training and Kevin Trudeau's training and things like that. So when I started on door-to-door sales, I was horrible. I was terrible myself. My first day, I made no money. I wanted to quit. I went back the second day. I did okay. So the guy sold me on staying. So basically, what I did when I worked my way up, my first target for myself was make $1,000 in a week. So after my 5th week in the business and I hit that, my next goal was 1,500 and then 2,000. And I remember, I don't know if I actually even told you this, Mitch, because I usually just talk about other people's numbers. But when I first set my goal at 2,000, because it was so in line with the sweet spot, I actually skipped it and hit 3,000 that same week. So it just goes to show if you set it up correctly and properly, it's all how you see your goal. There's nothing stopping you from actually hitting it, but it's the way of doing that. So I'll touch on a few things that you mentioned, like the laws of nature and things like that. But so then what I decided to do is test it on other people. So when I recruited my brother into the business, so he was working with me in the summers when he went to school. I remember he started with me when he was 16 years old, knocking doors doing door-to-door sales, and that's not easy. It's tough, man. Like anyone who's done it, it's tough. I know one person in the whole world that actually loves doing it, but I haven't met like a lot of people like that. But it's exciting too because you have to learn to grow a lot. So when my brother started, I would help him set goals, and I remember his 3rd year he came back into it, and what he said was he wanted to hit 8 sales for the month that he was going to be working, and then go back to school. So what he did was set up the goal as 2 this week, 2 next week, 2 the 3rd week, and 2 the 4th week. And then I looked at that. So I said, okay, that's fair. And I asked him a few questions. And what I realized that he wasn't sure why he was setting that goal. So all I did was help him paint a picture that the key isn't what the goal is. He knew what he wanted to spend the money on. He knew a lot of things, what he wanted to do with that. And he hadn't a vague idea, but the real ideal was progress. So I helped him reconfigure and change that. So the thing is, if he had set that goal as 8 sales for the month, I know for certain he would have failed. And I'll tell you why. So basically, what we did is we changed the entire goal. I said it's better to set the goal as 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 8 just for the month. Then he asked me, oh, why? I was like, good question, right? It's because that first week, if you don't hit your goal, what's going to happen to your entire psychology?
Doubt.
It's going to doubt. It's going to
Yeah.
knock you out and tear you apart. So then you go into self-sabotage. You start abusing yourself. You lose belief and confidence in yourself and your abilities when it was really your vision of what you wanted to achieve wasn't accurate, right? Because things start small and that's how it works. So it was amazing because I just seen it happen over and over again with many people because at the time I was training 10 to 12 people. And what he did when he changed his goal from 1, 2, 3, 4, from the 8 sales to 2, 2, 2, he actually got 11 that month and he made over $11,000 and he was only a teenager. So that's like pretty good, right? So that's pretty cool. So it was nice seeing that. And then one of my favorite success stories is another person. I worked with a really individual. He was a go-getter, working 3 jobs at the time, and he was 14 years old. So I knew this guy was motivated. If you're 14 and working 3 jobs, it's like you gotta have something in you that's driving you. I didn't start working until I was 16 myself. So when I took this kid in his 5th week in the business, he made over $5,500 at 14 years old. That's incredible. Like I don't know many people who have done that. I didn't even myself. About 1.5 to 2 years later, he was making $80,000 to $100,000 a month. Still a teenager, and even far more than now. And I believe he has his own finance company now. So who knows how much he's really making. But the whole key was just setting up the goals correctly. Now, do you have questions to prompt me on some of the things that you covered that you would like me to cover?
Well, I think that main thing where you said to start small and then scale it up from there. Because like when I came to you with my goal, right? It was like it was just this unrealistic jump of going from not even make, or my best month was $2,000, then wanting to break that into a day. So when you hear people come to you and they're like, well, I don't even know if my goal is too big. I think it's kind of big, but what do you recommend for a good starting off point if someone's not really clear on that exact number, whether it's amount of sales, amount of money, or something like that? I remember you did with me, we looked at out of the past 3 months, what was my best month? And that was a good starting off point. But what have you seen like that?
I would just say the first chief aim, ideally, it's best to have it as a next step. So whatever the best you've done before, just make it a little bit more. That's all. So with you, I remember like we were talking about it, and you said your best month was like 3,000 and something.
Yeah.
Beforehand, right? So basically, all we did was set your next goal at 4,000, and then you hit it quickly. So instead of like how you said you spent about 7 months trying to break through that 4,000 in a month, we're able to do it in 30 days, just because of the change of psychology, right?
And that was the best feeling, man. That was like the best freaking feeling when I called you. I'm like, dude, I already hit it. And then what, 2.5, 3 months later, I'm making 30 grand in a month. I'm like, this is what I wanted. Like, thank God I finally figured it out. So it's really just that tweak in psychology. That's awesome. Now, also, when I did start hitting the goals, I noticed there was an interesting thing that came up within me because I had never made, 30K in a month in that way before. I had done it before with making sales, but that was just revenue. So I was like, okay, cool, I got it. And then I saw it's like Chinese New Year's coming up, which is kind of like this off period. It was like a weird period in the e-com world. And I basically, you called it management mode, and you called me out on it. You're like, dude, stop stop basically trying to change what you're doing. Always focus on just the thing that got you here. One more. And you explained how in door to door, it's always just the next door. And that took me a little while to understand, but now I see it so clearly, and I've supported other people in that. So you want to talk about what can happen after 30, 60 days after you do start hitting the goals, how we can actually sabotage ourselves worse and create more consequence unless we stay accountable, and we really know what's coming.
Yeah. I remember when that happened, like the first time. I think it was like 5 to 6 weeks in when you found a good winner, a winning product. And then you're like, I'm going to stop launching the products. Because I remember what we did. First, you decided to set up exactly what you're going to do to make your 4,000, then 8,000, 10,000, whatever a month. And once you started getting a winner and making some money, you're like, I'm going to stop launching new products and just focus on scaling this one product, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, after having a conversation and asking a few questions, we're like, no, don't stop launching products. Keep launching the products because that's what got you to where you were, and continue to scale that. So that's exactly what management was. That's exactly what it is. So most people forget like what actually brought them to the table or brought them to the party, and then they just focus on the success that they've achieved and trying to hold on to it, like they don't want to lose it or something. It's really just a fear of loss, and then everything basically virtually collapses at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been huge. So that's something too for everyone watching this. Let's say there's a certain amount of sales you want to make. Like one is I see my internet. Okay, cool. Looks like my internet is good. It's really, first you got to identify what is that behavior that you're going to do every single day that's going to actually create the money or whatever the thing is that you want. So if it's prospecting for your business, or it's sending out emails, or it's getting on the phone and pitching people, or for me, it was identifying products and actually launching the ads. Whatever it is in your business, get clear on that. If you're not clear on that, leave a comment. We can help you. And then when you know that thing, that is the thing you optimize for and you prioritize. And the first thing in the day, like, get that knocked out. So you know daily, weekly, what you got to do. But then even when you start hitting your goal, you keep doing that thing. That was what really screwed me up. And I'm so grateful that I had Kian to hold me accountable. Otherwise, I would have screwed myself. So that's a huge piece.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge part of it. And you know, it's like interesting about your case too. It's like you said, it works across anything. Because I've tried it too. I've tried it for like retail business. I've tried it for direct sales companies. We've even tested it in e-com. And it's like it doesn't really matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what field you're a part of. There's just basic principles that apply to everything and anything. And if you just apply them with focused effort every single day, you're going to get the result that you desire. It's really simple.
Yeah. And just to recap, that process is look at your last, let's say 3 months. What was your best month? And then make it just a little bit higher. And that's now your goal to make in a month. What I found helpful was that I set it for, so it was like my best month had been like 2 or 3K. I don't remember specifically. But then my next goal was to hit, it was like 4K for a product. So it was a little bit higher. I was like fired up because I knew, okay, it's not that hard to hit the 4K. And then I also gave myself to hit the 4K in a month, but in any month over the next 3 months. So there wasn't all that pressure on me of, oh, this month I got to hit it ASAP. It released the pressure. And then I hit it in 7 days.
Yeah.
So that's the process, is to like look at the past, be accurate, and then now set yourself up for the next 90 days to have your best month. And then after that, just keep it going a little bit more. And again, if you have questions or you feel hung up on this, please leave a comment and we're happy to help and support. So that's that. I also do want to give a plug for how you help me use TechnoTutor, which is a software that both you and I use. It's educational software that you can use to basically work on your programming. Because I noticed I was reacting to when I would log in and I would look at my bank account, and if I was losing money because I was spending ads, I would react, and then I would be emotional and I'd say, oh, turn off the ads. Or I was making decision based on emotion, which we all tend to do this because I wasn't hardwired to be very wealthy and make a lot of money fast, right? And either were you, Kian. And so it's something that we've had to support ourselves with. And so you really helped me unpack why I was reacting, and to the point where now I log in and instead of seeing, let's say I lose $500 spending ads and it didn't convert, or I do a sales presentation and it doesn't work. Yeah. My first thought now is, why did it not work? Where in the past I'd say, damn it, it's not working. Okay, you know, why? What happened? What went wrong? But it was that gut response that's what mattered, because that showed me truly who I was in it, of scarcity. Oh, quick, I need to make the money. Oh, this sucks. You know, kind of like victim mentality, to now it's 100% responsibility, and saying, even if I lose the money, I'm not going to lose the lesson. And that I believe is what actually really helped me rise. So maybe you want to just talk a little bit about how you've used TechnoTutor and working on your own mind and programming to support you or support others through this whole goal process.
Sure. And I love that, man. It's like, even if I lost the money, I still won't lose the lesson. That's so good. And that's actually good to mention too. It's because like we really did just focus on, like, I know the reason why you even got Technitude and we started working together since Denver was the first thing you told me is that you wanted to work on your self-image, right? So we just worked on really your identity, your self-image, like personal beliefs, all that stuff before really attacking the business for 3 months, right? It's because we really had to build the person up, and everything else you're going to create is just a reflection of yourself. So me, yeah, I use Technitutor for my goals for everything pretty much. If there's anything that comes up that I notice is a limitation within me, or if I don't believe that I can attain it, I will throw in things that I feel resistance towards, but also goals and aspirations that I don't yet have, making them a part of me. So not only will I take apart the limitations and the beliefs that are holding me back, it's like, which makes it easier to see the goal, but I'll also put those in there too to integrate them within my DNA. So moving forward, I can do it with absolute certainty.
Yeah. Yeah. Two things with that. One, on the side, so not even my main thing, but I've seen such a benefit from Technotutor that I started distributing it. And in the first 40 days, I made $12,000 selling Technotutor, not even really trying, just sharing it with my friends, because I have friends who they read the books, they listen to the audios, they're working on self-image, goal setting, they're writing out their goals. I'm like, yo, you're wasting your time doing that because you're not getting any of that to the unconscious. So we use Technotutor, through the process, and in 5 to 10 minutes, you get your goals programmed into you, and you start thinking differently. And it's been amazing. And one other thing you told me, that I've had very, very successful mentors throughout my life tell me this, and I never wanted to believe them because I didn't quite get it. But then, Kian, you told this to me and it finally stuck, was your external financial situation, basically your financial stability, is a reflection of your inner emotional stability. And if you don't have inner emotional stability, your financial situation will not be stable. You may make a bunch of money, but I guarantee you're going to lose it, and you're going to feel all the conflict and the consequence of that. So that's why you need a tool like Technotutor to actually address that emotional stability piece, because then the money coming in is just, it's like a consequence of just showing up and doing the right things. So that was huge, man. And that took me a few years to learn, but I know some people who heard that will actually register, because it's just very clear, that stability piece is everything. Plus I wake up and I feel good. Like if I didn't have Technotutor to support me with this, dude, I would have gray hair by now, and I would have probably had a heart attack, because during Chinese New Year, everything got delayed, and I realized at one moment I could potentially, if things like screwed up, I could be out $90,000. I don't have $90,000 sitting around at this point in my life to just pay that out to like the suppliers. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, breathe. Cool. I got this. I trust myself, because I programmed myself so much to know I'm going to figure it out. So that's been huge. And I know that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't used Technotutor or had the support from you. So that's that. In conclusion, I mean, my closing thought is that anyone who's watching this and whatever resonated with you, please feel free to share in the comments, but then write out your chief aim. And if you have any uncertainty around the chief aim and the goal, which again, it's like in the next 90 days, what do you want to do? And then write out as well with that is what are the obstacles that you're facing? Because then Kian and I can support you, because we want you to win. Like, what good is the world if, Kian and I and a handful of people are winning? I'd rather have everybody winning. And I know you agree with that. So Kian,
100%.
any concluding thoughts?
Yeah, my connection was just choppy for a sec. And exactly, it's like this is good if we can achieve, right? That's beautiful, that's great. But the whole real point of doing everything that we do, it's like, because we work together in Technotutor, we have our own businesses on the side from that. We work together in ecom, we work together in other stuff too. But the whole point is like, what can we provide? What can we give to the world? And I know Mitch and myself are both very committed to creating better communities, not only for the communities that we're a part of, but for every single person alive on the planet. So that's my personal mission. That's my intention. And if anyone ever wanted to reach out, I know Mitch is there. I'm here. Just feel free to at any time. Facebook, email, whatever it may be, even other things may be available in the future. Just send us a message, contact us, reach out to us. We're always going to be here.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time, Kian. I know you're busy, and this is great. And I know there'll be people who see this that can actually apply this and run with it. I'm excited to see, the change that this creates with people, because this single-handedly really, really changed my entire trajectory. So thanks, Kian.
Awesome.
Have an awesome day, man.
For sure, man. You too. Thanks.
Yep.